unabashed,
the most unpredictable,
becomes a headline,
the most volatile,
outrageous behavior,
unsubstantiated narratives, a battle of personalities.
Welcome to Grant Tamasha, a co-production of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and the Hindustan Times. I'm your host, Milan. This past week, voters from across the western state of Gujarat went to the polls to select the 182 newest members of its state assembly. Gujarat, of course, is not just any other state in the Union. It happens to be Prime Minister Narendra Modi's home state. While the votes will be counted on December 8th, there's an aura of inevitability around the results. Journalists, pundits, and polls all point towards a decisive victory by the incumbent BJP. But this year's contest is not without its fair share of intrigue. In what has traditionally been a two-party contest between the BJP and the Congress, this year's elections feature an ambitious new entrant in the form of the Aam Aadmi Party. To talk more about this year's election and what it signifies, I'm joined today by the journalist Mahesh Langa. Mahesh is a veteran journalist who knows Gujarat better than almost anyone else I know. He currently serves as the Gujarat correspondent for The Hindu and previously covered Gujarat for the Hindustan Times. I'm pleased to welcome him to the show for the very first time. Mahesh, good to talk to you.
Thank you. And it's my pleasure connecting with you here on this Grand Tamasha.
So, Mahesh, you and I talked 10 years ago for the first time, almost to the day. And if you remember back in 2012, that was the Gujarat election that would catapult Narendra Modi into the national spotlight as the BJP's PM candidate. In 2017, the Gujarat elections were a test of the BJP's ability to win the state of Gujarat without Prime Minister Modi as the chief minister. What do you think this race in 2022 signifies?
Well, you have rightly mentioned that elections 10 years ago, 2012 election was kind of a launch pad for Modi from the state to the national political arena, and he used it as such that after winning the assembly election, in his first address he had mentioned that he would BJP workers said that now he will, Delhi is not very far. So that was a launch pad that Mr. Modi used to graduate from Gujarat to national politics, and then as we all know that in next 1.5 years he used he was chief minister of the state, but he had already become a national leader, crisscrossing the country, campaigning. He had heavily campaigned in the assembly elections that happened in 2013 in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan, and then also a couple of other assembly elections, and then of course the national elections where he first was declared as the BJP's campaign committee chief and then declared as the prime ministerial candidate of the party. So that was there in 2012. And in 14, Mr. Modi became prime minister, and he Gujarat transitioned from being Modi at the helm to Anandiben Patel, who became his successor, the first woman chief minister of Gujarat. Mr. Modi himself, appointed her, and she became the chief minister, taking forward the legacy of the Prime Minister Modi.
No, I mean, if you think about the year 2022, despite this Patidar agitation, the BJP, of course, came back to power in 2017, but it was a closer contest that had been in a long time. In 2022, what's the sense? I mean, is this in some sense the kind of last election before the race for 2024 begins? I mean, why, if the BJP appears to be putting maximum effort into winning, even though, most people think that it's not much of a contest. So why is that?
Well, in a way, it's a foregone conclusion regarding the outcome of the Gujarat Assembly election. But it has its own significance. Number one, BJP won very, very narrowly in the past assembly election in 2017, and that kind of anything could have happened in that assembly election, and I would say Congress lost it, not BJP. BJP did not win it. So now this time I think they want to ensure that BJP is back to where it used to be in terms of number of seats, in the range of 100 and 15 onwards that BJP had always won in Gujarat. So I think that is number one. Number two, also, before the parliament election, of course, there will be one more significant round of assembly elections in 23 when in the month of March, we will have assembly election in Karnataka where BJP is in power. Then we'll have assembly elections of Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh where two states are held by the Congress and one by the BJP. But remember last time BJP lost Madhya Pradesh as well. So it's very next round will be equally important, but Gujarat has its own significance because Prime Minister is from the state, Union Home Minister is also from the state. Then governor of Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh are also from Gujarat. Besides the bureaucrats who run the central administration. So Gujarat has its own significance, and I think another factor is that Prime Minister and Union Home Minister both are, and BJP at large, they are invested in Gujarat so heavily that they cannot, take the state lightly. Even if there is a foregone conclusion regarding the outcome, they would not take any chance to, give they'll not take any chance regarding even a small thing.
I mean, and it's keeping with Mahesh, as you know, better than almost anybody. I mean, the BJP puts as much effort, it seems, into the Hyderabad municipal corporation elections as elections in Mizoram, as elections in Uttar Pradesh, right? I mean, three wildly different types of elections, but the effort is pretty considerable across. That's part of their DNA, at least of the current BJP.
Yes, it's they're very aggressive. They do a lot of planning in terms of resources. I don't think they are short of anything. Sky is the limit, and then the aggressive planning, very very extremely high voltage campaign. Yesterday Prime Minister held a roadshow of almost 50 kilometer and touching base with almost 14 assembly seats in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. So that and let me tell you that since BJP won a landslide in Uttar Pradesh in last March, and after winning the India's largest state, Uttar Pradesh, second time in a row, the next day Prime Minister was here in Ahmedabad, again leading a roadshow from the airport to the state capital Gandhinagar. And since then, Prime Minister visited Gujarat twice a month. Since March, Prime Minister was, of course, this is addition, these rallies and post, after the schedule for the assembly election was announced. But since March, Prime Minister made 18 or 19 trips personally. He crisscrossed the state. He had there are 33 districts in the state, and he touched base with almost 26 districts. So he in preparations for the assembly election. So that goes to say show how seriously they are taking this assembly election.
So, Mahesh, for the longest time, Gujarat has been a state that we've just by default described as a state with bipolar political competition, right, between the BJP and the Indian National Congress. What's interesting, I think, to many of us this time around is that there's a third contender, namely the Aam Aadmi Party, right, which has come to power in Delhi and more recently in Punjab. Why do you think it is that Arvind Kejriwal and the AAP have decided to target Gujarat? And what is their way in? What is the pitch that they're making to voters about why they should be accepted in the state?
Well, it's very fascinating in a way because the way Arvind Kejriwal has taken Gujarat seriously after winning Punjab. His next stop was Gujarat, Ahmedabad. And since then, he also, like Prime Minister, has been coming twice a month, thrice a month, almost once a week in last 2 months. He has visited districts after districts, even small, places in districts, visiting temples, and doing everything that probably required to establish his Aam Aadmi Party and himself as a leader in Gujarat. Now, three things that I think uh, go into why Kejriwal is taking Gujarat so seriously. Number one, Gujarat is extremely important for the BJP, for the current set of leaders of the BJP. Secondly, even a slight dent of BJP in Gujarat can give launchpad to Kejriwal nationally. Though he has won Punjab, but Punjab would still not, if he needs something, some victory or something, Gujarat is a perfect, very, very perfect state for him. Third, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP have been marketing Gujarat model of governance, Gujarat model of industrial development, getting investment and stuff heavily, not only nationally, but they marketed it internationally. So I think Kejriwal wants to take it that model and juxtapose that with what he calls Delhi model of governance, providing basic services and what we now have new, term for what they call Revdi, that, doling out freebies like free electricity, the free education, free healthcare services, and, So, having himself established as a powerful leader in the national capital, after Mr. Modi came to power in 2014, he won 2 massive landslides in Delhi. So I think he wants to do something big in Gujarat, and also in a way Gujarat also provides a fertile ground for Aam Aadmi Party or any third front which is very serious to take on the BJP, because the state has seen bipolar contest since 1990. So it's BJP and Congress. Though Congress vote share has remained steady, around 35%, except parliament elections of 2014 and 2019. But those elections, people of Gujarat did not vote across party lines. They voted for Mr. Modi, for making Mr. Modi as Prime Minister of the country. And then there is a very quite sense that among people who are fed up with BJP, and it's a very, it has not been, that vote bank has not been tapped properly, but it's a significant vote bank that who is fed up with BJP. They also feel that no point in voting for Congress because Congress is B team of BJP. So there are no point in voting for Congress because their guys, their legislators get sold out easily. And it's a massive sense among among a section of people, and I think Kejriwal has tapped it quite rightly. So,
but Mahesh, let me just ask you just on this point, because 2 out of the 3 main players in the opposition lineup that fought the Gujarat 2017 elections, Hardik Patel, Alpesh Thakur, they've switched to the BJP. I mean, these were the people who were in the front lines going after the BJP, hammer and tongs, right? You talked to both of them, you profiled them recently for The Hindu. Why did these young leaders, right, who were so opposed to the BJP just 5 years ago, switch sides?
So in case of, I'll just go with Hardik Patel. He campaigned for the Congress party in last assembly election, but had not joined the Congress party. All of a sudden, in last August, he decided to join the BJP because he thought that, and then he's quite candid when I met him. He was quite candid that he wanted to be a politician. He wanted to remain a politician. He graduated from just an activist, and he doesn't see himself as an activist now. He sees himself as a politician, and inside that, it was very important that to be an active politician in Gujarat and to have some meaningful role in the state's politics. He needed a platform that only BJP can provide. He can win there. He can probably become a minister there if not this time, then maybe 5 years down the line or few years down the line. But he himself sees his future in BJP. Secondly, he thinks that Congress, all said and done, is very a party which has not been able to dislodge BJP in 2 decades, and as long as Mr. Modi remains there at the helm of BJP, Congress, no matter how much they put in their efforts, they are unlikely to kind of unseat BJP, at least from Gujarat. That's the sense that he had shared with me. So that's his case. In case of Alpesh Thakur, he joined in 2017. He was given the ticket. He won from North Gujarat seat. He became MLA. Then he was also made national secretary of the Congress party, and then somehow he thought that he was constantly fighting with state Congress leaders who saw him as an outsider and not someone who grew from within the party. And then he decided on the during last parliament election, he decided to join the BJP. He contested the by-election in which he lost from North Gujarat. But now he has shifted his base from North Gujarat rural seat to Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar's south seat, which has lot of urban pockets. So he also thinks that Congress leaders, state Congress leaders, did not allow him to grow beyond a point. They were not letting him work. He wanted to take on BJP head on, but he was being prevented, and in lot of infighting, lot of bickering within the party, which forced his exit from the party.
Hey, Grant Tamasha listeners, thanks for listening to the podcast. Putting this show together each week is a labor of love, but it takes a lot of work to put out a great show every week. If you'd like to support the work we do at Grant Tamasha, please visit ceip.org/donate. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or on your favorite podcasting platform, so you'll be the first to know when a new episode rolls out.
Mahesh, I think one of the things that we're kind of all struggling to understand is, you mentioned that the last election was one of the closest that we've seen in recent memory, right? The Congress had its best performance in years. It won 41% of the vote. The BJP won 49%. It kind of gave the Congress some hope that, look, it could actually take on the BJP in its strongest bastion, right? And this time around, looking at your reporting, look at the reporting of others, people have described the Congress campaign as listless, as leaderless, as lackluster. So we know that important people defected, but what else has changed between 2017 and today?
Well, several factors. One, that in 2017, Mr. Rahul Gandhi himself nearly spearheaded the Congress campaign. He held yatra across the state. He visited most of the districts of the state. And, he had a lot of, he was also involved in selection of candidates, and quite, after, losing narrowly to the BJP, I think he lost the interest in Gujarat, and that is what has changed. So Gujarat became completely, leaderless. MLAs were deserting the party. There was no what we call high command of the party. MLAs had no access to the central leadership. Another very, very veteran Congress leader who had, quite a significant role in Gujarat was Ahmed Patel, and he unfortunately died due to COVID in 2020. Since then, party became completely orphaned. There was no hope. It remained, leaderless for a very, very long time. In 2020, we had local elections of municipal corporations and panchayats, and party was nearly wiped out. And after that, state Congress leaders resigned, taking the responsibility. and they were not even changed for almost a year. They continued, so practically party was headless for over a year. And then another factor that there is no unity. 3-4 Congress leaders who keep fighting, against each other rather than getting united and taking on the BJP. That is, and third, Congress party also not only the state unit of the Congress mirrors what is the national unit of the party. No leader, no. So the cadres are quite demoralized. They have no access. They have no access. Who should they go and talk to? So all these factors, led to this party's quite dispirited campaign. In fact, Rahul Gandhi came only once to hold two rallies. One in Rajkot and one in South Gujarat. They are saying that they don't have resources to fight the election. They cannot match BJP in terms of resources. BJP runs very high voltage campaign. They don't have those kind of resources to kind of take on BJP. Secondly, I think the Aam Aadmi Party's entry also overshadowed Congress. Because like BJP, Aam Aadmi Party also runs very high voltage campaign, holding road shows, holding town halls, holding meeting here and there. Kejriwal, going by riding an auto to inviting one sanitary worker to his for dinner at his place in Delhi. So all tricks that normally BJP does, Kejriwal has also been doing. And Congress is not is seen on the ground.
Mahesh, one of the things that's been so striking in recent days is the Union Home Minister Amit Shah said at a recent campaign stop that such a lesson was taught in 2002 to those people who were engaging in communal riots, hearkening back, of course, to the infamous riots of 2 decades ago, right? And he said quite clearly that lesson that was taught in the riots led to quote unquote eternal peace in the state, right? And I think this remark shocked a lot of observers, even those who are kind of used to this kind of inflammatory language on the campaign trail. And I'm wondering, here we are 20 years later. The 2002 riots, what resonance do they still have in Gujarati politics?
Well, it's very interesting because BJP first started with development and their achievements, and somehow and that's a story in every election since 2002 riots. So first development and achievements and all sort of things, and then. Then 2002 riots or some communal statement enters the political, arena. So this time it seems that though Congress, as I narrated, how dull the Congress party is running the campaign, though. Contrary to that, BJP is running very extremely, high voltage campaign, but. As we have seen yesterday only that voters don't seem to be kind of enamored with that, and yesterday's voting reflected the fatigue level in Gujarat. I think BJP now BJP leaders, there is a sense in among BJP leaders that unless and until they kind of inspire their cadres, their workers, this development narrative doesn't do that. You have to do something that kind of, inspires them, something that kind of, swings them into action. And that is where I think this communal angle, comes in, because not only Amit Bhai, the Home Minister, even, more shocking statements came from the Chief Minister of Assam. And he said that, 2002 laid the foundation of new Gujarat. So we will never forget 2002 for next 50 years. and that is what led to the peace in Gujarat. Something that the Home Minister also said, that we taught them such a lesson that they have not dared to kind of disturb the peace in the state since then.
So I should just mention, just as an aside, that we're recording this on December 2nd. So the first phase of the election was on December 1st, saw relatively subdued turnout. There'll be another day of voting on December 5th. But throughout this past week, this question of the riots and its effects have been a motif of the campaign.
Well, I think that is what seems to be their plan, because remember, elections are happening in the back, in the backdrop of high unemployment and high inflation. That may or may not influence the outcome is a different thing, but you go to visit any part of the state, and first thing that people talk about is inflation, price rise, and second, unemployment. Though BJP talks about lot of investment that has come in the state, a lot of infrastructure development, but in terms of social sector, Gujarat still remains quite laggard. Despite the party being in power for over 2 decades, in terms of education, in terms of health, in terms of nutrition, Gujarat is among the worst performing states of the country and not among the best.
So could I just ask you a little bit, just to elaborate on that? Because, you interviewed a senior Congress leader recently who said, and I just want to quote, said the BJP leaders talk about the Gujarat model, but where is the model? There are no roads, no power for irrigation, no medical centers, hospitals, no employment in the villages. Now, of course, as you said earlier, talking about the hype of the Gujarat model obviously helped Narendra Modi make the jump from Gujarat to the national scene. The holes, as you're putting it, the gaps in the Gujarat model, right? As you talk to voters on the campaign trail, I mean, are they upset? Are they angry? Are they but still going to vote for the BJP because they believe that no other political party is going to do a better job? I mean, what is this electoral salience, I guess you could say, of the Gujarat model, quote unquote?
Well, people are certainly angry that there is very high level of inflation. Secondly, jobs are not getting generated. Third, that again quite shocking and unique, that since 2015, every recruitment exam that was held in Gujarat, it was rigged, or papers were leaked, or some scandal happened in the exam, and that is quite that's a massive issue, particularly among the youngsters, that BJP has not been able to conduct even a single exam without any scam or rigging or paper leak. And also another factor that is voters talk about is corruption. In during Mr. Modi's time, we did not hear of corruption, petty level of corruption, that district administration official will ask some money to get some work done, but now we keep hearing about that, and people do say that even despite paying money, your work doesn't get done. So that is quite and I think Prime Minister and Home Minister both are quite aware of that, and that is why they are almost here in Gujarat. And this is precisely the reason why they are taking it very, very seriously. That though they claim the achievements of the state, but most of the achievements are of Modi era. In last 7 years, the state administration has left much to be desired.
So Mahesh, this is maybe a good way to sort of conclude. I mean, if I were to sum up our conversation, it's been a somewhat lackluster campaign. There's a sense of inevitability about the outcome because the BJP is so strong, the opposition is quite weak. There has been some disruption. It's possible the Aam Aadmi Party will displace the Congress Party as the second biggest party. I mean, that remains to be seen. But if we assume a BJP victory, which seems like the most likely scenario, what do we know about who will run the new government? Will the BJP retain Bhupender Patel as the chief minister? And what will be their priorities? I mean, do you have a sense of what it is that they want to accomplish between now and the next assembly election?
Well, as of now, it appears that Bhupender Patel will continue to remain the chief minister of the state. There will be few new faces in the state cabinet. But the problem, I think, goes beyond Mr. Bhupender Patel because it's over-centralization model that is, essentially Congress model that BJP has adopted. So even a district level officer is not appointed without green signal from Delhi. So that is the level of centralization, under which the state administration is functioning. Every small decision flows from Delhi. Here people are meant to be kind of carried out the instructions that flow from Delhi, and that is something that BJP will have to change because that has not worked for the Congress. I mean, it did work initially, but it doesn't work for a very long time. So they will have to empower local leaders to take their own decisions, take their own run the state administration as per their own wisdom and competence rather than taking instructions from Delhi. Number two, there is also internal dynamics of the party. State needs a strong chief minister who can, the Gujarat has its own importance, not only politically, since Mr. Modi and the Union Home Minister are from the state, but Gujarat is also the hub of corporates. We have, it's a home state of the world's second richest person. Now every new project that one talks about nationally lands in Gujarat, be it Vedanta, Foxconn's chip making factory or Airbus and Tata's joint venture to manufacture some aircraft for the Indian Defence Forces that has also landed in Vadodara, Gujarat. So Gujarat has its own solid, significance beyond politics, and that is probably the reason why BJP and top leadership of the BJP should empower the local leaders and they can continue to guide, but at least let them work freely. That is not happening at the moment. But I would still, personally speaking, feel that BJP should, hand over the state to a very independent-minded person rather than micromanaging from Delhi.
My guest on the show this week is the veteran journalist Mahesh Langa. He covers Gujarat for The Hindu. Spent many tiring weeks on the campaign trail. Mahesh, your work on the campaign trail is almost over, but we're extremely grateful that you took out some time for us. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure connecting with you.
Grant Tamasha is a co-production of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and the Hindustan Times. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review to help others find the show. Tim Martin is our audio engineer, and Cliff Jayapranada is our executive producer. Production assistance comes from Nitya Love. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.
This was a Hindustan Times production brought to you by HT Smartcast.
HT Smartcast.